Most people, most people who do these types of shows have to always be nice and happy for their audience. Happy. Ha, 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 ha. Everything's great. Everything's going to work out. Everything's terrific. Don't worry. It's just another example of corporate conspiracy, whatever, and New World Order. And they just kind of repeat the same stuff over and over and over. And it's benign. It's anodyne. It's innocent. It's harmless. No hits, no runs, no errors. It's just, hey, this is terrific. We can talk about Hillary Clinton, maybe talk about Joe Biden, laugh about his age, but not really get it. Not really get it. I mean, just slough it over, come up with the popular quip, say some reference to whatever, but not really understand it. That's the part which is the most critical. Not really understanding it. Not really just like we do in most of the things that we do. We don't take things seriously because that involves a lot of investment, emotional and otherwise. It involves us really having to focus on stuff that's not what we do. America does not understand this. And the information is there. The information is there. But it's very nuanced, and it's very difficult sometimes to grasp this. And I can only point to people that I know, for example, classic, prototypical liberals, Jewish liberals. I'm saying, you don't really get this. You don't really happen with this. Is not about Israel, anti-Semitic Israel. This is a different story. You do understand this, right? You do understand this. I heard for yet again the umpteenth time somebody suggest that how do you stop Hamas? And I'm thinking to myself, they're asking the same question again. How do you stop Hamas? Is Hamas a terrorist organization? And I'm thinking they don't get it. They really don't understand it. Or they'll say things like, well, in 1948, the Nakba notwithstanding, and they talk about the history, and they don't understand it. They don't see this as being this transformational moment where everything that we know changes drastically. Let me tell you what the next step is, and I'm promising you, if I know the quote enemy, as we call them, like I do, this is what they're going to do. They're going to do something in this country. And when they do something in this country, and it's identifiable, either deliberately or a false flag, or it is attributed to them, whatever, everything will change even more so. You see, Russia and Ukraine, that was over there. It was just money that was written. You never saw, you never really knew about, you didn't feel it. Nobody was going over there. It was, go after, Putin. And that's the way we think. That's always been the way we think. We've always thought that way. Yeah, that's Putin. Or that's there. Or that's whatever. And up till now, Israel and that which was Israel was kind of like, well, they'll take care of it. They're kind of our ally, and it will always be problematic. It's coming here. And nobody is going to be glib about this. And nobody's doing anything about it because nobody wants to talk about it. My friends, please subscribe to this channel. We have a lot to talk about. Please make sure you do all of the usual subscriptions and notifications and the like. But we have to start off with some very, very, very critical news from our very, very critical sponsor. Dark clouds are gathering as markets shudder. Stocks are sinking, currency stumbling, fear and uncertainty reign. The Middle East, Ukraine, Taiwan, the debt, it's endless. Yet one asset stands firm: gold. In crisis after crisis, gold is there in the background. Its enduring value guards against loss, like a missile shield against incoming. While paper wealth burns, gold persists. Shield your savings against looming threats, war, recession, contagion, and avoid the frenzied panic of the unprepared. Take control in the chaos. Fortune favors decisive action. Get hold of gold now before it's out of reach. And right now, Noble Gold Investments offers a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with every new IRA. Claim your free coin today to secure your financial future. As this new storm gathers, panic looms. And some of the places you were thinking of for your money, well, they don't look so clever anymore. Secure your future against disaster now. Open a Noble Gold Investments IRA and claim your free bullion coin today. Go to LionelNationGold.com. That's LionelNationGold.com. LionelNationGold.com, the only gold company I trust. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. There is, as we speak, one of the most fascinating cases, and I can't tell you enough. Here I am. I'll give you another example. I'm listening to, and there have been people who, for the longest time, I have never listened to. I've never liked them. I was not a fan of theirs. I detested them. Not necessarily because of their political ideology, but because of their stupidity or their ignorance or whatever it was. And now we're 100% on the same page regarding what's happening in Israel. 100%. How does that happen? How does this happen? And all of the old tropes, all the old memes, all the old stuff. Israel has a right to exist. Israel's our friend. That's not what we're saying. Nobody's saying this. You have to look at Israel as a country, as a state, and you look at what they're doing, like any others. And for the first time, people are saying, you know what? That makes sense. Ask yourself this question. If Israel was Algeria or Spain or any place else, what would you be saying? You'd be saying the same thing. For the longest time, we have been forced to recognize, to involve ourselves in these tropes and memes and, how do I say these? In all of these usual things. For the longest time, anybody who ever said anything, I mean, the U.S. and Israel, there was no light between them. And you had to whatever was said, you had to say, we're 100% behind you. And there were no repercussions. And people said, okay. Yeah, okay. And they're still about to change. Now, most people, despite all of the protests and all of the activities in London and the like, all of these people are really not getting it because that's over there. And they're saying, well, that's those people. It hasn't hit here. If you want Americans to understand, hit them here. Hit them here and let them understand what's going on. Hit them here. And all it takes, tomorrow there's going to be 100,000? And today, 100,000 Israel supporters, and I guess Jewish people, but Israel supporters in Washington marching. Okay. Keep an eye on that. Let's see what treatment they get. Because remember, the purpose of January 6th was to get you never to march against the government. Ever again. It was to make you say, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. I don't know about that. Let's see what happens. Now, question number 1 that I'm going to ask you. How do you stop Hamas? Right? How many times have you heard that question? How do you stop Hamas? Okay. How do you stop Hamas? How? How do you stop Hamas? Please, I ask my friends, ask me. How do you stop Hamas? Start with that. Okay. I'm going to ask you the questions, and I want you to listen to me. Answer my question. Who dares answer the question? Please come forward. Let us read this. I want our live streams. Our live streams are very nice, but a lot of times they're just schizophrenic and they're just like people just yammering about stuff that just little blurps and glyphs and orts. And that's nice. But let me ask you a question. How do you stop Hamas? Please, especially those who are profoundly Jesus. Eric Powell, I don't know. Thank you very much. That's the best answer you can ever give. And I respect that. Come on. How? How is it? How do you stop Hamas? That's the question. Everybody wants to stop Hamas. And you're very smart people here. I want you to answer. How do you stop Hamas? Please, I beg you. How do you stop Hamas? Anybody? Got it? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Tell them Donald is coming? No. No. How do you stop Hamas? Defund Hamas. You're close. You're close to that. But how do you get people to? You're right. Ultimately, if somebody cuts off the money, there's no more Hamas. You're right about that. If you think those people who are flying around in Lear jets are doing this merely because of the Palestinian cause, you're out of your mind. Bunker busters. No, that's how do you kill Gazans? How do you kill? That's even worse. You don't want to kill any more innocent people because Hamas is not in Gaza. Hamas is everywhere. According to Colonel McGregor, Hamas is not international. In my opinion, it may become so. Well, it's not really international. It doesn't really matter. Let me ask, do you remember years ago in Philadelphia, Wilson Good? Remember the MOVE organization? They dropped these bombs, these fire bombs on top of these row houses and burned down the whole neighborhood. Got rid of MOVE. That wasn't good. Okay? What are you going to do? Sponge bombs? The old-fashioned way, by taking away the power and wealth. Okay, how do we do this? Now remember, how do we do this? That's great. Excuse me, Cutter? Yes. Could you cut off the... Oh, no? Could you stop this? Cut off all trade? Cut off all trade with what? Hamas? I hear they are flooding the tunnels with sewage. That is about going after installations of Hamas in Gaza. That's not what we're talking about. There will be a false flag. Okay, fine. How do you stop Hamas? This is the first question. And as you can see by this, by the way, some of the more loud-mouthed, not you, of course, but some of the ones who have all the experts, they have no idea what this is about because they think Hamas is just a place, or if you go there, you can get rid of Hamas there. Isn't it? So deal with Iran? No. I mean, no. I mean, yes. I don't know who we're dealing with. And when you deal with Iran, what do you do? Iran's going to want something. And Israel's going to tell you, don't you talk to them. Don't talk to them because they're going to make a deal against us. See, this is the issue. Have you ever had an inoperable bullet? You ever hear about this? Somebody is shot and there's a bullet that's inoperable. You can't get to it. You can't do anything. You have to make the patient comfortable, or you amputate, or whatever it is. See, this is the part right now. Get the leaders. No, then you martyr them, and there isn't anybody that we have never. It's interesting though. Of all the people that we have targeted, of all the people that we have shot with Hellfire missiles and from whatever, the organization is still there. Do you think Al Qaeda's gone? Remember when Trump would say, "We got rid of Al Qaeda"? Do you think Al Qaeda's gone? Do you think that ideology is gone? Hell no. It's just they give it a different name now. Islamic Jihad. You think Boko Haram is gone? You think ISIS, ISIL, IS, Daesh? You think they're all gone? No. And their names that we kind of give them, it's these people. It's just like Antifa. Where is Antifa? Whatever Antifa. By the way, don't be surprised if you see something tomorrow. Don't be surprised. I wouldn't be going there. Hell no. You can see those Antifa folks showing up and they say, where do they come from? And this government never, ever, ever went over them. Never, ever, ever went to see who really controls Antifa. Who? They never did. Why? The same reason they don't break up the mob. You need these people. The same reason they don't stop the Hells Angels or whatever it is. The government doesn't want to get rid of Antifa. They can do it in a heartbeat. How many of them are there? Believe me, you get a bunch of these people, you put them in a seat, you grab them by the balls and you squeeze, and they will start singing, and you will destroy that. The government doesn't want to get rid of Antifa or BLM or any of that other stuff. John McGuire couldn't get hired, said, off topic. I just love that. Off topic. I just saw Senator Coons' interaction with a reporter on a train. Is it just me, or have politicians of this era completely lost their ability to charm and BS people off the cuff. Oh, that's absolutely true. Well, look at, and by the way, where's like Marjorie Taylor Greene? Remember her? She was such a big. Where's Matt Gaetz? I don't know. Where are these people? They come, they go, they leave. Here we go. Oh, this is a great one. Listen to this one. You stop Hamas by debunking Islam. Oh. Please. I hope you're not drinking coffee. You show Muhammad never existed. You show Mecca did not exist and Muhammad was supposed. Oh, please. You're actually going to do this. Listen to this. Somebody wrote this. Hey, Muslims that we're trying to calm down. Hey, your religion doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's all ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. You're not. Your religion is fake. Can you imagine somebody reading this? Somebody writing this? Somebody actually wrote this. Somebody wrote this. Remember years ago they would say, and what you do is you get them and you rub pig blood on the bullets and you shoot them because there's pig blood on it and you wrap them in. Yeah, those are the ones who want to burn the Quran. Oh, that's great. See, this is where I would love to be in a room and say, you go into that room. Why? We want to test you. Either A, you have the worst sense of humor in the world. B, you're insane. Or C, combination thereof. Think about this. You don't know. You don't know. This is not your thing. Nobody asks you what to do. Nobody asks you what you're not. You have been very, very kind of passive in this whole thing. You're kind of like watching this. Well, who is Hamas? You like good guys and bad guys and things like that. And we go after, do you think this is about Islam? Are you kidding me? Do you really, really think? And I mean it. I am convinced. This is why I could never be a teacher. I could never, ever. Because the first time anybody showed me any disinterest in the subject, I wouldn't know what to do. Number two, the first time anybody said anything that was just profoundly stupid, I'd get up, pick my books up, and walk out the door. It's like, I'm not going to talk to people like this. It's not about religion. It's not about Islam and Judaism. It's not about Abraham versus Muhammad. It's not about that. It's not Sunni versus Shia. It's not about that. What we're seeing right now is, and I appreciate this, a profound, complete, and total confusion as to what's going on. Or people will say, well, look what happened on October the 7th. That was terrible. And that's all I know. That's all I know. That's all I know. But so I just keep saying this. Well, what about the settlements? And I don't know about that. Occupied territory. I don't know about that at all. All I know is it's amazing. It's just amazing. See, this is what we are. This is a group of people, not you, but the world, and you're emblematic because let's face it, you are the tip of the iceberg who don't really sit down and say, now let me explain this. One of the things you always have to do whenever you have a situation is to be able to ask yourself the question, can I explain this problem? Can I explain this problem? Can I put it in words? And oftentimes you can't. One of the best pieces of therapy you can ever involve yourself in, if ever you find yourself in the position, ask yourself the question, whenever something's bothering you, rather than spend money on some shrink, before you do that, by yourself, explain your situation. Explain it. Why is that? When you explain your situation, you have to call from parts of your brain the ability to explicate, explain, control, what am I trying to say? But understand, grasp, synthesize, distill. You have to have all of these abilities before you. You have to have all these abilities. And most of the time, people just have this idea in their head. They keep spinning around and they don't really understand what it is that they feel. What am I upset about? What am I ashamed about? What am I worried about? What am I sad about? And they never speak. They never speak out loud. They never. And the only reason is, and when they go to a therapist, oftentimes it's the first time they've ever spoken about it. So what you need to do is you need to, when you're by yourself and nobody's around you, speak out, actually speak out loud. Because in order for you to explain it, you have to access it, and you will be able to you'll be able to realize right away, you don't understand the problem. You don't understand this. This is the part which is the most interesting. We are, and how do I say this? The internet and a lot of this stuff is a repository of BS. It's just BS. The worst of the worst of the worst. It's just this thing where we just spew this, we just keep throwing this. It's like there's this machine, it's like this train that's running down the highway, and it's how do I say this? You have to keep it going, and you take pieces of furniture and wood, and you break it, and you throw it into the oven, and you throw it into the furnace, to stoke it, to keep this thing going. And you just say anything, do anything, post anything, just say anything. Don't worry about understanding the issue. Don't. Mrs. Ellen and I were saying, I can't tell you the subject matter. We were talking about people tackling prostitution. I wanted to scream. I wanted to get into a car and say, what are you talking about? What are you? You don't even understand the problem. You don't understand the problem. Period. This is the thing. This is what's happening. October the 7th changed the world. It changed the world. I can't say this enough. Okay? It changed the world. We are not in charge anymore. Anthony Blinken is a moron. He is saying things that are ridiculous. He is saying things where he is trying to explain how what we are doing in Ukraine, and now I guess with Israel, is to send a message to China, where we are supposed to be meeting theoretically with Xi Jinping very soon. I mean, it's incoherent. Barry Taylor says, I agree, we don't know because it's very complex, but there must be resilience against extremist ideologies. Who is extremist? Barry, thank you for that. Imagine going into Gaza or Haifa and saying, who is the extremist? A Gazan will tell you it's Israel. They're extreme. Do you hear what I'm saying? They will say Israel is extreme. Do you hear what I'm saying? They will say Israel is extreme. They're being extreme, not us. Israel is. You say, no, excuse me. I came here to talk to you about extreme. I was going to talk about Hamas. Hamas got it done. Hamas are terrorists. So is Israel. Yeah, but Hamas kill people. So does Israel. This is what they're going to say. So you're going to walk in there and you're going to say, no, you don't understand. You have to recognize you're an extremist. No, we're not. We're victims. Don't you understand how this works? No, wait, stop. How do we stop Hamas? Stop Hamas. Nothing happened before October the 7th. While we deplore the killing of innocent life, this changed everything. This is the reality. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is reality. This is called realism. This is the thing that people don't understand. They live in this la-la land, not you, but because we're in America, we don't have to worry about this. We don't have to think about anything. We have these crazy ideas that we understand Islam and we've read the Quran. No, we haven't. It's not even about that. Because because we don't think, we don't study, there's no depth, we don't care, you don't have to know anything. We spend our time just flittering over like from little flower to flower, buzzing about. That's all we do. Look, take a breath for a moment, think about what's going on. Please make sure you're subscribing to the channel, make sure you're liking everything. And now let's talk about something I think that we all can understand. It's called what happens if there's no food. All right, fellow patriot, let's talk about My Patriot Supply, the country's largest preparedness company, and it is more than equipped to stock your shelves in times of emergency. You can ditch the canned vegetables in the box, pasta and the banana chips and the jerky. Their best-selling 3-month food kit provides delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that last up to 25 years. Now, these meals offer over 2,000 calories every day, with a balance of protein and carbs to keep you fed and ready to go in the event of an emergency. Just add water and heat, then eat. Start or strengthen your food supply with this 3-month food kit from My Patriot Supply. So go to preparewithlionel.com to get ready. Preparewithlionel.com. I'm going to say it again. Preparewithlionel.com. Go now. I'm going to give you right now a link to sign up for my newsletter. I got to tell you this story. This is so emblematic of a lot of things. This yesterday went out. It was very, very good, I thought. And I love how people come up with the most ridiculous of ideas as to stuff, different things. Now, they can say ridiculous, but I can't. And these are the people who say that, well, boy, you can't say anything about Israel or else Israel will get on you. Yeah, well, you can't say anything about your religion. No, wait a minute. That's different. Don't say anything about my religion. See, it's okay. It's hypocrisy in colors never could imagine. Raul says, how would you stop the conflict in Gaza? Great question. We'll get to this. Number one, though, let me explain this. And I will, Raul. Thank you. Somebody actually wrote me and said, what is the problem? It's Satan. I said, oh, no, not Satan again, right? This person actually believes that there is this guy named Satan. And if Satan wasn't here, there wouldn't be evil. If there was no Satan, there'd be no evil. Satan is the source of evil. And that God is evil. And that Hamas is evil, but nobody else is. Okay, it's always black and white. And I said, that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. So does that mean that if there were no, how come other countries don't believe in this thing called Israel? What about that? What do you think about that? How does that work? How does that work? You see what I'm saying? How does this work to you? This is the part which I don't understand. They say, well, so what are you saying? What are you suggesting? Well, I don't know what to suggest, but well, tell me what you're saying. What is it that you're believing? It's one of those things where I don't really understand why people have a hard time with it. Do you believe that Satan is responsible for? Well, I don't know if he's responsible. So what is it that you're saying? Well, I don't know what I'm saying. It's like the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. They're blaming Satan. So anyway, so when I brought this up, I said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. They said, hey, don't say that. You know, you're not going to do a very good job telling getting people ticked off by insulting their religion. I said, you brought this up. You said this was Satan. Why is this Satan? Are you saying one person's responsible for this? Are you kidding me? One person? Satan? You're not, and he never answered the question. Never answered the question. Just talked about, hey, don't say anything about God. Who's saying anything about God? You brought up Satan. You think God's is about Satan? Dear God, what in the hell are people talking about? It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. The most I've ever seen. I can't, I truly cannot believe it. Now, lest we forget, you asked the question, how would you stop Gaza? Okay. When did Gaza begin? Huh? When did Gaza begin? When? When did Gaza begin? When did all of this stuff start to make sense? When? Tell me, I ask you. You want to fix it now? Well, tell me when it started. I don't know when it started. 1948 it started. Well, that's a little too late. Well, you asked the question, right? You asked the question, did you not? Yes. You asked the question. You said. You asked. Very, very simple question. When did it start? Okay. So I asked the question. When did it start? That's when it started. So what do you do right now? The first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to say, you've got one of two choices. Number one, is there a possibility? Does anybody want to do something? If I went to either, by the way, who's running the show? Is it Hamas? Is it Palestinian Authority? Is it the West Bank? And by the way, when Hamas moves to the West Bank, good luck. They're in Gaza now. You want to, they're going to move. If I advise Hamas, I say, go to the West Bank, start sending in missiles, and Israel will want to just completely clobber the West Bank. I mean, they just want to bulldoze everything. That's because they think that we are in a place. This is what I would say if I was Hamas. Okay? You're coming along now. And you're saying, you're looking at the patient. This patient has this problem, and you're saying, well, what do we do now? Well, it's a good question. But the very first thing is, the bottom line is it's going to be back channel. And there's always back channel. And believe it or not, there are people, I think, as somebody, and as I have said, the most important person I believe in the world is MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. I think Mohammed bin Salman is the most important person, bar none. Bar none. And the reason why is because he has so much to gain and has so much to lose. A couple of things which is important. I was watching Palki Sharma on First Post, and she said something very interesting. She said that the level, and this is still amazingly fascinating to me, that the level of, what am I trying to say? The level of planning that was that had occurred was maybe up to 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And that Hamas had basically set up everything up to and including a makeshift cities and that sort of thing. They were so good at the double cross, according to others, that they were even giving information to Israel about Islamic Jihad and others saying, listen, this is what they're doing. You didn't hear it from us, but we want to be friends. We don't want to go on their record, but and Israel said, that's terrific. Bibi has his judicial reformation, worrying about his own political career, which is over. It's done. He also was making tremendous deals at the time with MBS regarding, I mean, they were this close. Bibi thought everything was great. And obviously he said, and they must be doing a great, see, this is a question. Where are MBS and LCC as arbiters? They're not going to be in the public, Mr. Fox. They're not going to be, hey, we're here. We're going to lend a hand. Whereas the entire Arab world says, you're going to what? Lend a hand? Lend a hand in what? Winning? No, bringing peace. What do you mean? We may not want peace. Not too sure. Not too sure about this. Anyway. They cannot see him as quislings. They cannot see him as traitors. They have to know what the hell's going on here. But imagine that as they're doing this, everybody's feeling fine. And then all of a sudden, October the 7th, and Bibi said, oh my God, have I been double crossed? Have I been, wow. They did exactly what Israel would have done during their nascent, when they because the Haganah and prior to IDF, they were the ultimate in skullduggery and brilliant. And there's a sense of when you are in this world and you say Hamas struck one against the evil Israel. Now you could say, but what about their treatment of people and the allegations and the evidence and that sort of thing? Well, they might say, well, we may not be for that, but we sure like what they did. They brought us to the table. We don't like that particular tactic. So don't think you're going to go into Gaza and convince them that Hamas hasn't changed everything. Because as far as they're concerned, they said nobody would be. Granted, you can say, yeah, but Israel wouldn't be leveling Gaza without Hamas. True. You see how it is? Just when you think you've made a point, there's another point to contradict it. But that's the best part. Now, the question is, if you do talk with MBS, if you do talk to CC, if you talk to other people as well, if you talk to Jordan and Erdogan, oh my God, he's still the guy because he wants to be, this guy's got a hell of an army. He can be also the peacemaker. It's not the peacemaker because anybody can give up. That's not making peace. That's called surrender. But he also plays a very critical role in this. And they're already working on this thing now. Let me ask you this question. What has Gaza done now? What has Hamas done now? See how I confused the two? It's very important. What are they doing now? What are they doing now? Have you heard anything? If they are still on the offensive, still doing the attacking, I'm not hearing about it. We're hearing a lot about Israel. I mean, does Israel really believe it's going to go into Gaza, flatten Gaza? I mean, it could. It could. You know what would happen if it flattened Gaza? That's it. It's over. No, nobody. I mean, you can. Once the word is out. Remember the line from Goodfellas when Paulie says, I'm turning my back on you now, Henry. I'm turning my back on you. When America or the rest of the world turns to Israel and says, you know what? Can't do it anymore. If it ever happens. I'm not saying it will be. But if it ever comes to the point, hypothetically, where they say we cannot, you are a political liability, the likes of which we never even thought possible. We cannot deal with this anymore. We cannot be a part of this. We are not looked at as peacekeepers. We are looked at as aiding and abetting and acting as accomplices to this particular horror, and we can't do it anymore. If that is true, if that becomes true, then, and this is important, then all bets are off. So what do they do? And that's where we are right now. And it's not going to do anybody any good by going back and talking about the Turks and Judah and pre-1948 and 1,000 years ago and all that kind of stuff. The bottom line is simply this. Blinken, I don't believe for a moment Joe Biden with the considerable effect and the considerable involvement of Obama, who's still in the background to an extent. I don't believe that they are 100% behind Israel at all. No way. I think they have to say it, but I don't think their heart's in it. I don't think they've ever been. Obama certainly wasn't. I remember. This has to do with a situation. Let me go back. Lest you think I am being too tough on Israel. Lest you think that. If I had gone back from day one and I had said, okay, this is going to be our land. This is going to be the homeland of the Jew. This is going to be the official Jewish state. All right. That might have been the first mistake. Because you are surrounded by enemies. There's nothing really there. There's no big, there's not oil or whatever. Okay, fine. But I would have probably done maybe the exact same thing they did in 1948, in 1967, in 1973. I might have done everything the same based upon the zeitgeist, the mentality at the time. Remember who they were dealing with. It was Arafat. It was PLO and Fatah. It's a different group right now. It's a different group. They were now considered to be corrupt and larcenous and the like. Do you see what's happening? So I don't think I might not have done anything different based upon the people at the time. This is how confusing it is. You go back in the history all you want. But right now, two things are going to happen. The world is behind this. And let me tell you something. You can motivate people to come out of the woodwork. You can motivate people to come out of the woodwork if you provide this new thing called social media. Social media will create an event. I can take anything that is happening, and because of TikTok and because of other particular aspects, I will take an event and say, now this is cool. Because as you know, and I'm not saying people who are marching are not in any way sincere. I'm not saying that. But social media changes everything drastically. Drastically. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm saying. We're talking about a war of opinion, a war of information, a war of the way people think. Okay? The way people, it's how people are thinking. And here is the best part. In the United States, most people in here don't get it until it comes to our shores. Then they're going to understand it. And it works something like this. A, incident X happens someplace. B, this is very Hegelian. B, screaming and yelling and oh my God. But there's a new little twist. C, who's responsible for that? Well, you could say either that's Hamas again, or somebody can say, what motivated it? What was the inspiration for this? Oh, that was Israel. If that's the way it is done, then that is a different story. By the way, let me say welcome to our YouTube special member, C.E. Coulson. That's right, the C.E. Coulson. You are now and permanently ordained and provided with the aura, the penumbra that surrounds you by virtue of your being a member. Thank you. Okay? Now, what happens next? See what happens. I want to tell you some of the best stuff I am hearing on the internets I've ever heard before. Ever. I cannot shout out enough. I cannot scream enough. I cannot say way to go enough to Judge Napolitano in his pieces, his expert stuff. He has one with Jeremy Sachs, which is just excellent. His discussions with McGregor, the Duran, mostly that's about Ukraine, whatever. Absolutely superb. It goes to show you that there is this thing out there, and C.E. Coulson would know this. There is this. It's some of the best plus and minus, and what about this, and what about that? It's the best stuff there is. First post, Paki Sharma. Weon is excellent. I like to get a little Al Jazeera, and then I also go to Jerusalem Post. I want to know what people are saying on both sides. I use this to triangulate with the position of where we're headed. And I have it, and I end up with this feeling, this tremendous understanding of this. And before you ask the question, remember, what do you do for what? Somebody asks a question. Well, what would you do? Well, what do I want to do? What do you mean? You want me just to stop this? Do you want me to stop the pain? Do you want me to stop the pain? Do you hurt? I'm your doctor. Come here. Let me give you some. There we go. Little cortisone. Pain goes away? Yeah, terrific. Problem's still there. You're going to rip that tendon, but you won't feel it. In fact, every time I give you one of these things, it's going to affect. I used to get these tennis elbow tendonitis thing, and cortisone was terrific. And then you realize one day the tendon just blows up and you get this bubble. And you can't do that anymore. So the question you're going to ask is, well, what would you do? What would I do to do what? To stop? To stop what? I don't know. You got to ask yourself the question, what do you mean to fix it? To stop it? From whose point of view? Let me ask the Gazans. I know what they're going to say. Let me ask the Palestinians. Let me ask you, what does Israel want? Now, do you think that everybody in Israel is 100% behind Bibi? Absolutely not. Well, what do they want? Well, I want this to stop. I want there to be peace. Okay, what does peace mean? You want the pain to go away? You want me to get to the problem? They want you to completely remove any and all surroundings. They are using two words that drive people crazy: ethnic cleansing and apartheid. Ethnic cleansing. I think they are too strong. I think they are too problematic, but absolutely deal with the issue behind it. They would want, and you know this, if Israel had its way, what would Israel do? Wouldn't it love to say, we don't want any of these Palestinians here? Is that outlandish? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If Israel had its way, don't you think it would say, got to get rid of these? Not physically exterminate them, but just if they could just go someplace else, wouldn't it be great? Yes. You don't think that's rational? Israel says, if we didn't have Gaza or the West Bank, things would be a lot better. If this was what kind of a state is this? We got to share it with these people and this people. No. If you scratch your head at that, there's no hope for you. If you really say, well, how do I? But that's not going to happen. And if you ask Palestinians, what would you like to see happen? How would you fix this? Their answer is not going to in any way jibe with Israel. So going back to what you said initially, what do you mean? What would I do? What would I do? Yeah, what would you do? What would I do? Well, it's hard to say what you would do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part that gets to be so fascinating. From whose point of view? You can ask these questions about the Vietnam War. You can ask them about anybody else, any other situation, anything else that we've been involved in. You can ask, who exactly? What do we do to fix the situation? Okay, listen very carefully. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're hitting that little bell to be notified of new videos and the like. Make sure you know this. And also remember, Christmas is around the corner. When we talk about free speech, when we talk about luxuriation, when we talk about pillows and percales, and we talk about comfort, we talk about incredible sales, we talk about my friends and mypillow.com. Let me tell you about my great friends at mypillow.com. Mypillow.com. And by the way, use promo code Lionel. Use promo code Lionel and receive a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I realize that gifts are free. It's a tautology. Get over it. Sue me. So what are we talking about? How about Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0, sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Items to luxuriate and relax. And don't forget, Christmas is just around the corner. And yes, it makes a great stocking stuffer, and it's fine for dad or grad. Made by the greatest company from the greatest people in the greatest country. Or call 800-645-4965 if you're OG, and see how quickly Mike Lindell answers the phone. 800-645-4965. But don't forget, only use promo code Lionel. That's mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. And by the way, speaking of which, in the little section of the description, there's a wonderful piece there that deals with Lionel merchandise. And we have a beautiful section, the official Lionel merchandise shop. We have, what do we have on here? Ornaments and Christmas ornaments, luggage tags, bags, holiday pajamas, the whole bit. So check that out as well. Okay? Fine for dad or grad. Okay, my friend. Let me see here. Let me see. Someone says here, it doesn't matter. The Warhawks make the decisions and the innocents suffer. Well, let me ask you a question about this. Right now, how are the Hawks benefiting from, of all things, Gaza? Don't know. Because that's when we move huge flotillas of aircraft carriers and the like, that's another story. But understand, somebody says something. Judge Napolitano brought up a very good point. He said that a friend of his said that no matter who is elected president, we always end up with John McCain. There is a position, and there is something which is happening in these folks who always feel it's somehow beneficial for you to scream and yell and clamor about this thing called, being tough. And that's the thing which I think drives me nuts. Oh, by the by, today we had our newsletter that went out yesterday. Have you signed up? This is very simple. This is the sign up list for the newsletter. That's it. Free. Just take it. That's it. But don't read it if you're going to get upset. Did you talk about the devil again? Oh, shut up. Please. People love to be offended. Okay, let me stop you right there. There's a lot to take in, my friends. A lot to take in. Here is the deal. It's not so much what can we do, but what can we do in the wrong way. If we send military warfare, the Dwight Eisenhower, the Gerald Ford, if we send to this particular area aircraft carriers, and we start the brush fire, that is called whatever, we are doomed. We've got to be very careful that we don't put ourselves in the position where things end up becoming worse than it is. All right? Okay? All right, my friends. So let me thank you. Silver Fox, Raul Rodriguez, Barry Taylor, John McGuire, C.E. Coulson, our new member, the inaugural member, and Edie Crowley. Can't stop the dance. Maybe this is our last chance. You too. Two hearts beat as one. I know that. I'm sorry, I missed it before. I know that Bono, as I call him, tries to do his best, but nobody gets on my nerves like that guy. I don't know why, but he gets on my nerves because he speaks his platitudinous whatever. Remember, I am a realist. I don't care about the way things should be, the way things ought to be. I think about the way things are, and that's a big deal. All right, dear friends, let me also ask you, please, which is very, 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 very important. And I want you to do me a big and a huge favor, as we say in the kitchen, okay? Mrs. L has the most important and critical X or Twitter handle there is, at Lynn's Warriors. I'm going to give this to you right now. You are going to immediately sign up. Immediately, because they are doing. You think you're censored here? Oh, you have no idea. As soon as she gets 5 followers, she loses the 5. It's Elon. I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something, and I don't like it. So please join us. This is it right there. One more time. This is the link. Go and sign up and subscribe. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Thank you so much for your attention, for your wherewithal. Hang in there. Focus your energies. Research, read, critically think, deep dive, and plumb the depths. And until next time, remember this. Until we meet tonight at 7 p.m., remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.